We are in negotiation with an organization to partner up and to push it to the next level in terms of commercial real estate. And I can't wait to share with you exactly what it's going to be, but you're just going to have to wait just a little bit more.
Have you been thinking about buying your first rental property for some time, or do you already own a bunch of properties? Well, fellow investors, you found the right location to listen and learn from others' successes. Welcome to The Very Real Estate Effect with your host, Axel Monsaingeon.
Hello, and welcome back to The Very Real Estate Effect podcast, a show dedicated to real estate investing. I want to take a little bit of time today, Axel Monsaingeon, as your host, to do a bit of a recap, because by the time this episode comes out, which is we're right now in fall 2025, around September, it's been 5 years. I don't have the list in front of me, but I think we're at about 265 episodes. So divide that by 52 weeks. Yeah, that's roughly 5 weeks, 5 years, and a little bit. And I wanted to take the time to share with you a little bit about that journey, because it was 2020. I was at home, like most Canadians, during COVID, and I kept having good conversations prior to being locked in about real estate. And I started the meetup. We met, every second week on Tuesdays on meetup.com. We went up to 40, 50 people. And then when we hung up, it all went away. And I asked myself, how do I make that content permanent? And I guess that's called a podcast. And my goal at the beginning was just to have meaningful conversations with people, share their journey, whether it's an experienced plumber, a real estate investor, an appraiser, a banker, you name it. I've always been interested in having conversations with people because I get to learn. And originally, I just wanted to share the conversations that I had with other people. Now there's hundreds and thousands of people who get to listen to it afterwards, and then just got a little bit more structured. And then I had someone back in the U.S. to help me out a little bit on how to set up the podcast, like the feed, the system, the platform. How does this beast actually work? And then I started just to record with guests, and I had no choice. It was Zoom. I used good old Zoom platform, the little black box, and you can go back. There's, dozens, if not hundreds of episodes in that method. And I found some local real estate investors, some real estate professionals that are expert in their niche here in the Montreal area. And I had some a little bit from, out of province. I had quite a few out in the U.S. because in the U.S. they're always a little bit ahead in some ways. I don't want to say a few years, but for a lot of things they are, especially when it comes to real estate. I was going to say they're a little bit more risk taking. And I found it's very interesting to speak to US guests because whatever they talk about, it'll be here in about a year or two. So we went on like that for 2 years, 3 years. Then we were able to get out, but it was the ease of having just, booking a guest and then just having him on Zoom. But the thing is that in a way, it was a limitation. It was a limitation in the conversations that we had because you know me now after 5 years, I'm a people person. I like to touch and feel. Now, I'm not here to touch my guest. I'm just here to, have that proximity because I find it sparks something in the podcast and it creates a little bit of a magic in the communication, the conversation that we have and in what we feel comfortable sharing. The goal of the podcast has always been to share the reality of a real estate investor, i.e. my journey, but also share relevant conversations that you can learn from because we have to learn, we have to be part of a community. Now, this went on for quite a while, and there's certain guests that have had a big imprint on me. I'm not going to go through the full list now and share those names. You can go back in all the history and go dig it out for yourself. And surprisingly, I've noticed that there's conversations that have had a big impact on me that weren't necessarily from the people or the guests that I expected it from. There are some that have high energy that after interviewing for 45 minutes, I felt on a high for about 2 days just because I got to ask them questions and it fueled my desire for knowledge, my desire to learn. And again, the podcast was almost I don't want to say a selfish choice, but I wanted to have those conversations. It's just that I brought you along the journey so you can learn. that went on for a while. And also, I had and I still do have a massive imposter syndrome. Sometimes when I hear some of the guests, I'm like, who am I to be hosting a podcast? Who am I to be sharing my journey? Like, in some ways, I don't feel like I've accomplished anything massive and special. I don't consider myself special. I've just, shared along the way so you can learn as well. Now, some of the people that I've had on the show, to me, have done something special. We've had some fabulous real estate investors, some stars in industrial, in commercial, in residential. We've had some tech guys. We've had some land flippers. We've had, you name it. Go through the last 5 years worth of library. It's fun. And I've always felt lucky to be firsthand able to ask all those questions and to learn, because literally after each recording, I'm like, wow, I'm so lucky I get to do this. I'm so lucky that I've had the support from listeners and get the feedback from you in terms of what you want to hear about, what topics are relevant to you, what guests you feel would be relevant. And that has helped me, and that gave me the push that I needed sometimes to just keep going, because, one a week for 5 years, and I've never missed a week, has been a challenge. Full transparency, it's demanding, and yet we've always pulled through. It takes proper planning, and you just go with it. You commit, and then you figure it out. Now, along the journey, I've had certain milestones, and at some point I had a few guests, and I was like, hey, we're both in Montreal. Why don't we meet in person? And I went to a few studios. I realized the magic of being together, first of all, having that guest at arm's length that we can connect with at a different level from the human side. And the quality that came out in terms of the conversation, and also, let's be frank, like the quality of the files, because this go through a medium, it goes on the audio, and shout out to John, my wonderful audio editor. Thank you for the job that you've been doing over the last couple of years, and also on the video side. And, this is also on YouTube. It's then public, and the quality is so important. And about a year and a half ago, I forget exactly when it was. It was sometime in early or mid 2024. After using a few other studios, I wanted to find a place that was close, because I don't want to drive an hour just to get there. I wanted to find a place that was easy to deal with in terms of scheduling and flexible, and where it's a full turnkey, because what you see is the finished product. There's a lot that goes on, and just the camera right now that I'm staring into is something that I could never afford. And so I found Great Things Studio in Montreal. They're based in Saint Henry on Notre Dame, to be very specific, and it's been a game changer. Whether you go through social media, through the podcast, through YouTube, scroll down and you see where kind of that limit and where is it that we started. It's been much easier because they offer a full turnkey solution. And shout out, like, I'm saying this because now, I consider that we're part of the same team. I am not paid to do this. I do this because I genuinely want to share how much of a difference it made for the podcast. So the studio has been absolutely fantastic to deal with. The quality, the file is TV grade. And by the way, they also do television. They do corporate videos. They offer full turnkey solutions for whatever your content creation needs are to be. And the reason I want to share this is because that was a milestone. Coming here regularly, I book one date, I do a few episodes in a row. It also made it easier for me, and in terms of production and planning, it's been a game changer. The quality of the files, the ease to deal with, how simple it is. And again, I don't want to learn the technical stuff of the camera, the mic. I just want to come down, sit down in the beautiful blue chair, share what I have to share with you. And then by the time I walk away, literally that afternoon, I have all my files that are ready. And that's why I highly recommend them, whether you're a podcaster, whether you need to create some content. And we will put their link in the show notes so you can find them very easily. And if you reach out to them, please let them know that you heard about them on the podcast. It'll be great for them and for me. Thank you on that. Now, after about a year and a half, now there's also a big milestone that's coming. And by the way, last year, and I want to do a shout out to Jason, who regularly listens to the podcast, because I was in studio. It was before Christmas last year, and I had shared, hey, I'm ready for some change. If someone wants to co-host, if someone wants to partner up, and that's when we started with Cercle 13, a fabulous community of professionals from the commercial real estate world. And they reached out, and we started collaborating together, and that's been great. And we shall continue. And today, I'm here to announce that there's some change coming with the podcast. I can't share what yet, and this is just going to be part of the suspense, is that after 5 years of fun conversations, of sharing, we are in negotiation with an organization to partner up and to push it to the next level in terms of commercial real estate. And I can't wait to share with you exactly what it's going to be, but you're just going to have to wait just a little bit more. And that partnership has arose because this partner has a platform. It makes sense for us to combine at every possible level. And once it's announced, you'll understand why the synergy is absolutely logical. And some of you might be thinking like, oh yeah, that was an obvious move. Oh, you should have thought about this before. Oh, we're just happy for you. But it took years and the consistency to show up every week and to do it so that when someone else looks at it, it's like, hey, Axel, I'd love to partner up with you. Hey, you have a good solution, you have an audience, and you've built a good platform over the years. And so I'm very proud to announce that soon I will be announcing a partnership, and that will propel us I don't want to say to the next level, but just to another chapter of this podcast, and with the unbound commitment to continue to share with you the reality of real estate investing, of commercial real estate, and to continue to have some founders, some CEOs, and share their journey, their obstacles, their joys, their hard moments, and everything that goes with it, because through this, we get to learn, and the more we get to hear other people's journey, then we can better our own. So I want to thank you for your support over the years, for the feedback, for the ideas. And there is, now a group of, seasoned listeners that have given me great feedback, and I take it very preciously, because doing a podcast isn't always easy, because you put a lot of time and energy, and then you put this content out there, and you just see numbers. You see, how many people listen, you see downloads, you see all this. And that's why I love to hear from you, the audience, in terms of, what is it that you like? What is it that you would do differently? What kind of topics you want to hear about? Because this is meant to be relevant for you, whether it's your first time listening or you've been following me for years. I'm very grateful. Attention. Your attention is the biggest resource that you have. Be wise about how you spend it, and I am grateful that you've allocated a little bit of it to me. I take it as a sign of confidence, trust, and support. On this wonderful note, stay tuned, as we will soon embark on a whole new chapter of the podcast, of the Very Real Estate Effect, and everything that we have to share, to keep going over the stories of people from the local community who have built fabulous businesses and impacted our wonderful city of Montreal, the province of Quebec, and this wonderful nation of Canada. So thank you very much for your support. And as usual, keep educating yourself, research your market, and keep making offers. Take action. On this note, I'll talk to you next week. Thank you.